Are we live? Yes, we are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to healthierlife.tv. And today we're going to be talking about fermentation or ferments. What the bacteria are they? I guess that kind of the headline kind of gives it away. But anyway, before we get started on that, my name is Warren Connolly. I'm coming to you from a very beautiful and sunny Hungary. And my co-presenter is
Paul Bursey from just outside London in Essex. Good morning.
Looks quite sunny there, Paul.
It is quite sunny, although I've had to shut the door and put the lights on to get the lighting a little bit better.
But, although the moon must be quite gloomy today.
The what, sorry?
The moon.
No, let's not start talking about football here.
We just so happened that one of us is in Hungary and one of us is in England, and there was
the worst defeat since 1928 or something.
1963.
No, 28.
Oh, with Scotland.
Home defeat. The home defeat.
Home defeats in Scotland, 5-1.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't really care too much for that event. They've had a hard season. I think they need a rest.
I think the players need a rest, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I agree.
Anyway, so what are you going to learn today? Well, lots about fermented foods and things like that. But what are fermented foods? And obviously within that becomes what are probiotics and what prebiotics? What are the benefits of fermented foods and how can I eat more of them? And are they healthy? So simple things like that. And it won't be a long call today because there's only so much you can talk about with fermented foods. Unless you talk about how you do it, you know.
Well, so, if you break down each fermented food that you could.
Yeah.
That's maybe another call.
No,
not today.
And I had to learn a bit more because I know a little bit, but the basic thing I found out that is if something ferments, it basically brews.
Yeah,
and that's it. And
so brewing is you're breaking down the sugars.
Absolutely, yeah. Food and beer undergo fermentation. You know, and it's as simple as that. And the other thing is you take the air out. That's what you're doing as well. You know, so the oxygen and everything else. So that makes it anaerobic. So I was just thinking back to athletics again. You know?
Can't get away from it.
Yeah. And I was in hospital yesterday, nothing serious, usual visit. And my actual oxygen intake was 99%.
Oh, wow.
I said, does that mean I'm going to live longer? And she went, no. So anyway, let's get on with fermentation. Okay, so do you eat fermented foods, Warren?
Perhaps not as much as I would like to, but yes, I do.
Because the only thing I could ever think about when they talk about fermented foods, I think yogurt sort of was in there somewhere, but sauerkraut.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's what came up in my mind, and obviously since that time, since we've been doing this, things like kimchi and another miso or miso, whatever it's called.
Miso.
Yeah. So things like that. Well, we're going to get into all that. So is fermentation healthy?
You're asking me? Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. I'm asking anyone. You're the only one who can answer.
I don't know, unless somebody else is on here and they want to chat with us. But fermented foods are healthy. There are some fermented foods which, like kefir, for example, which can be susceptible to toxicity and things like that. But on the overall picture, fermented foods are pretty good for us. If you're not used to eating fermented foods, I would then recommend perhaps just start off slowly. Okay, let your gut health become accustomed to it, and then start to maybe add. Then you can go to every day adding in fermented foods into your diet. But otherwise, overall, I think it's pretty healthy for us.
Okay,
I believe so.
So it really just means the yeast and bacteria break down the food components. The sugars, such as glucose.
Mm-hmm.
and it turns it into other products, like organic acids, gases, and alcohol is another one, obviously. So,
And another important one is lactose as well. So people that are lactose intolerant, which is essentially all of us to some degree, once we become adults, we are to some degree lactose intolerant. Most of us never experience the symptoms of it, but those that are in the knowing, they know that they're lactose intolerant. Then these foods like kefir, for example, or probiotic yogurts, they are good for you. They're not good for you, but you can have those because it breaks down the lactose sugar in the food when it goes through the fermentation process.
Yeah, and of course, when you ferment food, it also affects the taste.
Yes.
Obviously, you get an aroma from it. It's normally fairly good, and it changes the texture and appearance of the food as well. So it's a trend.
Is it?
It's actually a trend for the last sort of 5 years or so. It's been growing as a trend.
Okay.
And I think moving on from now, it'll become more of a trend. It's not a mega trend, but it's a trend.
A trend.
So, and of course, fermented foods and beverages are becoming increasingly popular. That's the other thing that I'm starting to see more, hear about it more. And of course, as you get into the healthy diet and healthy living, these things start to pop up and you take a little bit more interest and say, will that help my diet? Because that's the bottom line, isn't it? Is it going to be healthy for me? Is it going to help my diet? Is it worth getting? Yeah. And
well, if you're listening to this, then hopefully that's what you're thinking, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, things like, is it kombucha? I think it's kombucha. Yeah. They have that, and it's a black or green tea, basically.
Yeah, so it's fermented tea.
Yeah, just fermented, and obviously they have that on tap in some bars.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it. I don't know. And obviously things like I've started to eat, and I didn't realise that this was fermented. And that's sourdough bread.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I've only just started. I don't eat it all the time, but I do like it occasionally. Because then you see when they used to ask, "Would you want do you want white, granary, brown, whatever?" They used to ask. Now they ask, "Do you want sourdough?" Sourdough. So it's.
Now we're very fortunate that we get to eat sourdough all the time. So because we have a bakery just down the road from us, and they only serve breads with sourdough.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I mean, I quite like it. It takes a little bit of getting used to. But I've got used to it and have it more. I would say once every couple of weeks.
Okay.
But I could eat it. I could eat more.
Yeah, it depends. Like, I don't know about in England and the UK, how many options of different types of sourdough breads that you get, that, the different makeups of the bread. But here we get a variety of different breads that are sourdough based. So it helps keep it interesting. You're not always eating the same type all the time. But even the white based breads that are made from sourdough, they tasty. I like it. We really
most of the ones I've eaten are white anyway. But and because then you move into things like yogurts. Now with yogurts, you have to be a little bit careful because the commercially processed yogurts, and they say they're healthy.
Yeah.
Basically, they've got so much sugar in them a lot of the time. So you have to really, really search for healthy yogurts. And I'm sure. Well, I'm sure in time to come we'll get more healthier. Hopefully.
I think the easiest part, especially in the UK or anywhere for that matter, perhaps is go to your farmers markets and get your yogurts from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trouble is you've got to have a good farmers market. We where I live, we really haven't. So not that I would call a proper farmers market. And of course we mentioned sauerkraut. Now sauerkraut is just like a finely chopped cabbage.
Yeah, it's fermented cabbage.
It is Germany, one of Germany's national dishes. That's why they.
That and bratwurst and
Yeah,
sauerkraut.
yeah.
That was when I was introduced to sauerkraut when I was living in Germany in 1994, and went to a fair one day, and like a carnival fair, and with friends, and they ordered some bratwurst and sauerkraut. And I was like, hey, what's this? It took a bit of getting used to, but we make it. Andrea makes it here sometimes, and it's good. It's really good for you, and it can be versatile in terms of what foods you can add it to.
Yeah.
Which is similar to like with kimchi. Kimchi, it's a South Korean fermented vegetables. So you can do that at home. You can it's not that difficult to do, really. Like you say, all you're doing is you either putting it in like a vinegar or with salt, okay, and then you bottle it, and you just make sure that you keep it as vacuum sealed as possible, and over time it will ferment, and it's not that difficult to do, really. It's just fairly labor intensive, but otherwise it's not that hard.
So the other thing is that I didn't realise until I started doing a little bit of research that fermented foods have been part of the human diet for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they were introduced to preserve foods. The second, improving flavour, because over time the flavour gets better, and another way to eliminate food toxins. So, are all fermented foods good for you? Well, generally. So you have to do a little bit of work yourself and find out. But sorry.
The ones that we're touching base on are
all good ones. Oh yeah, I won't mention them otherwise.
Yeah.
But,
and you're not gonna. It's not like you're gonna readily find other types of fermented foods available in the markets if you're living in Hungary or South Africa or in the UK or Europe for that matter. Unless you're living in Asia, where you can find them readily available in certain Arabic countries, you're not going to really find many fermented foods that are out of the norm. You find the ones that we typically will know when we bring them up, the people will recognize the words. They may not know exactly what they are, but those are the ones that you're going to find typically available in your markets.
So we don't think it's just for certain types of people. I think to make the people from the UK feel happier, gherkins are a fermented food.
Yes.
They have always, when they're going to have their fish and chips, a lot of them get gherkins. So you're already on board. So don't think you're joining this new age eating, and look, these days more people are turning towards, fermented foods because of the potential health benefits. That's why people are looking at them now. As we mentioned before, the preservatives, preserved foods, improve the flavour and eliminate food toxins. That was what it started off being. But now we're really looking at the potential health benefits. And as I say, generally speaking, they're very, very good. So, and there are thousands of different types of fermented foods as well. Can you think of some, apart from what we've mentioned?
Yeah. Well, one that comes to mind, which I have a variant of it, which is tempeh.
Yes.
And you got tofu.
That's Indonesian, isn't it?
No, it's just fermented soy product.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it
originally Japan or South Korea, I think as well. You can get it from there, but it's just fermented soybeans. So it comes from the Southeast Asian region.
Oh, right. Okay. So it's all over the Southeast.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, a lot of the countries in Southeast Asia will eat either tempeh or tofu, and then it's just compacted into like a cake form. And I eat tofu quite regularly, and it's quite versatile as well. You get different flavor types of tofus. Tempeh normally comes quite bland in its flavor, so it's normally quite natural in its flavor. But you can add it to so many different types of foods, and also you can prepare it slightly differently. So you can fry it, you can grill it, you can bake it, and then on top of that, it's high in protein as well. It's a very high force. Your natural form of soy is high protein, and it's healthy for you. It's the processed soy products that become dodgy, in my opinion. Right?
Well, it's the same with most things that are processed.
Yeah, like so even like
everything, but most things,
soy sausages, soy burgers, soy milk, these other things are dodgy. But if you're eating tofu or tempeh or soybeans, but we're talking about fermented here, so tofu or tempeh, then it's going to be healthy for you because it's not processed; it's just fermented and then packed, into like a cake form, as I said, and it's nice.
Yeah, because the other thing was when I got excited when I was looking at the lists of different things, it had wine, beer, and cider, and I went, I thought, I'm liking this already. So, but then we got cultured milk and yogurt. We mentioned yogurt, but cultured milk.
Well, that's kefir.
Yeah.
It's a cultured dairy product.
Kefir, yes?
Yes. Yeah. And I started to drink kefir when I moved to Dubai, and living in the Middle East, it's readily available. And it's...
You have that instead of cow's milk?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's really nice. I like it. It's saltier. So, because it's not done in vinegar, so it's don't use salt, so it's a little bit saltier, but otherwise I like it. It's quite versatile in its application as well, how you can use it.
Yeah. And I mentioned it a little bit. Is it miso?
Miso, yeah. So
miso, MISO, which is traditional Japanese seasoning, but with soybeans.
Yes.
And so there's lots of little things you can have. Also, fermented sausage is another one, which they have in obviously the Mediterranean countries. Italy, Spain, Portugal.
Okay.
So, and what they do, they just extract the moisture. That's all they do. So, depends on the quality of the sausage. As you know, processed sausages are going to not have too much good stuff in them.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, not all of them. And, but you tend to find when you go abroad, well, I do when I go on holiday, the quality goes up. Definitely when you have fermented sausages. I do like eating fermented sausages. I didn't even realise it was fermented. So, we're in blissful ignorance a lot of the time, aren't we? So
yes, by ignorance.
Yeah. So where else can we get some fermented foods from? What other things? What other areas?
Again, dairy product. If you're looking at probiotic yogurts, you mentioned that, but also
what about cereals? Can you get fermented cereals?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not. Maybe I'm aware. Maybe I do know, but I can't think of the top of my head. Fermented cereals.
And also, you can have nuts and seeds. I know that. So, the obviously the usual suspects like dairy, meat, and fish, you can get those fermented. Legumes, and so I mean, look, we have a lot of this stuff already. It's just that we don't necessarily have it as fermented. So it's not totally a new way of living, let's put it that way.
No, definitely not. But again, the Western diet has been devoid of a lot of these things for so long because it's not based on health, really. The Western diet or way of eating is based on convenience more than anything else.
Yeah.
I look at how I grew up in South Africa, people, I say to South Africans, you think we eat healthy, but we don't, because we're eating roasts, and then you're eating a lot of like smoked meats, types of bacon and gammon and things like this, and then you're eating rice and potatoes together with vegetables, so that causes a lot of problems in your stomach, Whereas in other cultures, they tend to keep it a lot simpler. The way that they eat. If you go to Japan, for example, if you have a soup, like a miso soup, that's probably the most complex in terms of variety of different types of foods that are put into them. But that miso itself, it's a fermented seasoning, so that's going to help with digestion. And this is one of the major benefits of fermented foods is digestion. So it helps with breaking down the foods in your stomach. It helps with because it helps with the digestion process. Your body's not using up as much energy in order to digest those foods. And then they very often have very strong antioxidant benefits to them, we should all know the benefits of antioxidants, that what it does to our body and healing and allowing our body to age slower rather than speed up the aging process.
Yeah. So really and truly, I mean, it's something that we should pay attention to and maybe include a little bit in our diet. Just, interject one of the things into your diet, see if you like it, and go from there. You haven't got to go berserk and throw everything out from your cupboards and everything and suddenly say, I'm going to put everything, fermented in the cupboard.
Fermented.
And of course, the thing is, when you're talking about fermented foods, you then move slightly, well, you don't slightly, but you move on to prebiotics and probiotics. Now, we won't go into that too deeply because we've done it before, but probiotics are basically live good bacteria. Okay. Prebiotics are from plants or generally from plants, and basically they go to the lower part of the gastrointestinal area, and they help everything else, but they don't actually get digested. So, which is good, and special plant fibers basically. So,
which is good because it helps to continuously fight off those bad bacteria.
Good for going to the loo.
Good for going to the loo, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you want them for.
And look, another thing with fermented foods is there's still a lot of ongoing research into the different types of fermented foods and the health benefits. Okay. And in some cases, they found that they even help with destroying certain elements of cancer cells, and preventing the growth of cancer cells as well. So, although as much as that's not, I would say a doctor's not going to advise you to start eating fermented foods to help you fight cancer, as an example. But the fact that they've been found to have health benefits in line with that, it goes to say, why would you not want to try and start eating it for those reasons? Because there is enough evidence to show that it can help. But, as I said, the research is ongoing, so there needs to be a little bit more done into that as to exactly how and why that happens. But, overall health benefits, a resounding yes. Terms of, why, reasons for wanting to eat fermented foods.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know from our listeners or watchers or whatever, if they eat fermented foods at the present moment, or if they intend to, if they had some good news when it comes to eating fermented foods, or or they're introducing it into their diet. I'll be very interested to know. So. Also, if you've found this useful, and we've only really touched on it, if you found it useful, show the love wherever you hear or see it, this Facebook Live, YouTube, on podcasts or whatever, and give us plenty of questions.
Yeah,
plenty of questions, please.
And if you've never entertained the idea, I'm very curious to know as to why. Perhaps it's just a matter of ignorance. Or maybe it's just that you have a preconceived idea about fermented foods. Maybe you don't like Germans, and that's what you know. But sauerkraut. But whatever the case may be, I'm curious to know as to why, if that's, if you've never entertained the idea of eating fermented foods, because it's also, as much as it's to do with lack of knowledge, very often it's also a societal thing. It's society has a certain perception on different types of foods, and this is one of the reasons why the Western diet is so unhealthy, because we've been led to believe of certain things relating to different types of foods from other parts of the world, which are not always true. Very often not, actually.
Yeah, so let me know if you have sourdough bread with a bit of kimchi on it and sauerkraut while drinking kombucha. I'm going down the other route. I'm going to go on a tour of Great Britain to test out the beers, the ciders, and the wines before I start on Europe. So I'm going to become an expert in that. Yeah. So, all right. I'm now going to go and chew on some fermented sausages. So anyway, we joke, we laugh, but we're quite serious in that. You can introduce this into your diet and start to live a little bit healthier. I'm
just having a look here quickly. 1 second.
Sorry?
Just bear with me a moment.
You looking up the share prices?
Yeah, exactly. No. So if you look, you're talking about fermented sausages. I'm just looking to see if there's certain words, certain terms or words that are used, because not everybody's going to go looking for fermented
dry sausages.
Dry, so yeah. So Druewurst in German. You get fermented sausages in Spain or the Netherlands. Yeah.
Oh, you were talking about cake earlier. What was you relating to that?
The tofu or the tempeh.
Oh yeah. The only other cake I can really remember, apart from really fatty ones that I like, is the ones they do in Holland, which I've never had. I think I'm going with that, but not my type of thing. But
in Hungary, back to the sausages, but in Hungary it's referred to as kolbász. So it's that dried, fermented sausage. So you can keep it forever, really. Just as long as you keep it in a nice, cool place, it can last forever.
Well, the reason why that I think back to my childhood, the reason that we had fermented foods that I didn't even realise was the fact we didn't have fridges.
Okay.
We had larders, which were like a cold cupboard, and things would last 3 or 4 days in that cold cupboard. Yeah. That's including milk and everything. It was
we have a larder here. We have a larder where we live. So underneath is the attic. Not the attic, the basement underneath, and it's very cold there. So the larder sits directly above that. So even now with the heat, you walk in and it's cool and fresh inside.
Fresh, yeah. Anyway, we're done. Anything else you want to say about fermented?
No, I think we touched on everything we need to. Yeah. Druewurst or your kimchi.
Little view into the world of fermented foods.
Fermented foods and the healthy bacteria.
Anyway, have a great week, everyone, and let us know what your research and travels and tasting and trying different things, and then we can comment on them. So with that, we're going. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
And hey, just lastly, if you have any specific topics you would like us to touch on, please do so. Let us know. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Let us know ASAP before we choose.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to do it now. So we know. And then we'll let you know what we're putting on before anyone else knows.
Yes.
All right. We're going. Have a great week. See you all later.
Yeah, have a fantastic one.
See you. Bye.